Hey guys, Ken Stretz Tactical. So I want to talk a little bit about the med kit or IFAK individual first aid kit. Everybody's got different terms. There's always a new buzzword or whatever out there that I use on the range. Mine is from Active Carry Technologies. My buddy Bill, who owns the company over there, set one up for me. So what are my needs, right? So on the range, anything from an owie, which I see a lot, people cut their hands or whatever and they're bleeding all over their guns, all the way up until, knock on wood, all of that stuff, the worst could happen, right? So this is kind of set up to take care of that. So let's dive into the kit that Bill set up for me. Obviously, there's different kits. If you go on his website, set up for different purposes, different agencies, etc. So I'm just going to show you what we got for mine. So we got Bill's attractive logo on the outside, which is also Velcro. You can put that on your range bag or whatever if you didn't want to keep it on here. If you wanted to put one that said med kit, or sometimes you can get those patches that have the medical cross on them, so people know exactly kind of where it is. For me, I take this out when I do a class. I do a med brief. Honestly, sometimes I'm bad about doing my med brief. I need to get more religious, so to speak, about it. But I usually take this out, if nothing else. Even if I skip the med brief, I kind of put this out there so I can direct people to it. But yeah, in the med brief, this should be out there and everybody should know where it is. So we'll take a look up front in this little zipper compartment. I did unzip it. All right. I believe these are for nosebleeds, little kind of gauze things. Not 100%, but I'm pretty sure these are for nosebleeds. Kind of pack your nose if you got a nosebleed. Bill, I'm sure will see the video, and if I'm wrong about that, he can kind of chime in. All right, so in the front here, what do we got? So we got some quick clotting gauze, right? So it's got the quick clot powder impregnated into the gauze, right? So if you need to pack a wound or whatever, that'll help clot up the wound. Got the Z-Pack dressing, so it's a sterile dressing, 4.5 by 4.1 yards. All right, that's it for the front pouch. Main compartment, got a bunch of stuff in here. All right, starting from the front to back. Secure strip, so it's a 1/2 by 4-inch strip. So basically, bandages, little band-aids, bandages, whatever you want to call them. And this looks like an emergency blanket, right? So people can end up getting hypothermic, right, with certain injuries. So you got an emergency blanket to wrap your casualty in to help their core temperature, right? So an important piece of your kit. So every good soldier knows about 100-mile-an-hour tape. You can do all sorts of stuff, but basically this is either 100-mile-an-hour tape or more properly, it's duct tape, right? So you can do a lot with duct tape. Next we have an H bandage. So it's a compressive bandage and dressing. It's got all the instructions on the back. Always a good idea when you get stuff like this, get extras to practice with, to tear open, to learn how to use. It's 4 inches by 7.5 inches. All right, and it shows you how to secure it and everything on the back. All right, so there's a compression bandage. Saline rinse. Good example of why would you need that? My dad sustained a traumatic eye injury one time, fell through a china cabinet, sheared off the front of his eye. One of the things I did when that happened was I used sterile dressing to irrigate the eye from the nose out this way and then nose out that way. So there's just a quick example of why you may need some sterile rinse or saline to irrigate a wound. In that case, get all the broken bits of glass, and there was a lot of it on his face and around his eye. All right, so we got some gloves here, just some rubber gloves, large, so it fit most hands. All right, so a CPR face shield, so a barrier between you and someone if you had to do CPR on them. All right. In here we got what I would call like a boo-boo kit, right? For the owies and stuff like that. We have, I think they're like aspirin, ibuprofen. Yeah, Medlight looks like ibuprofen type stuff. There's a couple of those in there. There's two tablets inside. You get 2 of them. Diphen. Some of the stuff I'm not sure what the difference is in the different one here. Well, here's some actual ibuprofen. The other stuff was Medlight. Diphen, like I said. Antibiotic ointment. All right. Some tweezers, right? So that happens sometimes on the range, especially setting up furring strips and barricades and stuff like that. You get a, or actually I've seen this happen too, too close to steel. Some instructors just think you can get right up on it. Seen a guy get some frag, had to leave the range, go to the hospital, get the frag removed and get some stitches. You can kind of dig down and get some of your frag out there, and I know you're not supposed to remove embedded objects. Here we got a razor blade, right? So if you had to cut open some clothing or whatever, I know EMT shears are better than that. And we have some EMT shears we can talk about here in a second as well. Some first aid and burn cream. I don't know if this is similar to water gel or not. Bill, you can chime in the comments. I'm sure you're going to see this. And hydrocortisone. All right. An antiseptic towelette, right? So I guess to prevent like infections on minor cuts, so you just wipe it down. All right. Alcohol swab, same thing. You know, just prevent some infection. Right, a couple of band-aids in here. So that's what I would call your, your boo-boo fixer or your owie kit or whatever there. So again, the minor stuff all the way to the more severe. So here you got a SWAT T or a SWAT T tourniquet, right? So it's a distraction compression tourniquet. So it's not like your standard tourniquets, like your gotta stop and think about the other all the different acronyms and whatever. But SWAT T is a stretchable material for tourniquets. As I understand, with children, these are probably better than your standard tourniquets. So you got that in there. And that's everything in this particular kit, except for the marker in the back. So what would you use the marker in the back for? No, it's not for scoring targets. You put your tourniquet on. You can, I don't know if you want to write it on someone's forehead. That's my military training kicking in. All the way from basic training when I was 17. You write a T on the forehead in blood or mud, and you put the date and the time so people know when the tourniquet was put on. Little sidebar on tourniquets. If you haven't, if you've been living under a rock in terms of tourniquet and med stuff, tourniquets are not bad. Tourniquets are saving a lot of lives. You won't necessarily lose your limb because they put the tourniquet on. You can wear a tourniquet for a long time before it does any really harmful stuff. And you're more likely to save a life than lose an extremity with using a tourniquet. But yeah, you can, right on the bandage or, on the back of some of these tourniquets now they have, and I don't have a different tourniquet to lay out for you. You can write the time and the date and whatever that you put on the tourniquet. So there's that. Check out Bill's website. It's Active Carry Tech. That's activecarrytec.com. Also make sure you follow him on Instagram at Active Carry, and on Facebook he's Active Carry Technologies. All right, guys. Just a quick shout out to Bill from Active Carry Technologies. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, get trained, and I'll see you on the range.